we're practicing being dogs.
Oh, well, maybe I can help. Here, fetch.
Remember when TV stars were everywhere one day and completely gone the next? Not just off your screen, but vanished from Hollywood entirely. No farewell tours, no comeback attempts, no reality shows, or celebrity game show appearances. Just gone. Like they walked through a door marked exit and never looked back. Today we're counting down 11 TV stars from the 70s, 80s, and 90s who mysteriously disappeared without saying goodbye, leaving fans wondering what the hell happened. Jan Smithers.
Nice raft.
Oh, you noticed, huh?
Sliding into our number 11 spot, we have Jan Smithers, who played the sweet, intelligent Bailey Quarters on WKRP in Cincinnati. From 1978 to 1982, WKRP was one of CBS's smartest comedies, following the misadventures of a struggling radio station in Ohio. While Lonnie Anderson's Jennifer got all the attention as the bombshell receptionist, Smithers played Bailey, the girl-next-door producer who actually knew what she was doing. Bailey was the heart of WKRP, the competent counterbalance to the chaos. Smithers brought warmth and intelligence to the role, and fans loved her for it. She even earned a People's Choice Award nomination. But when WKRP ended in 1982, Smithers basically vanished. No major roles, no talk show circuit, nothing. She appeared in a handful of TV movies and guest spots, but by the mid-80s, she was done. So, what happened? Smithers married actor James Brolin in 1986 and decided Hollywood wasn't for her. She walked away to focus on family life, later saying the entertainment industry felt shallow and unfulfilling. When the WKRP revival, the new WKRP in Cincinnati, launched in 1991, she didn't return. Neither did most of the original cast, to be fair, but her absence was particularly noticeable. Today, Smithers lives a quiet life, completely removed from show business. She divorced Brolin in 1995 and has stayed out of the spotlight ever since. No conventions, no reunion specials, no interviews. For someone who was on a hit show for 4 years, her disappearance is remarkably complete. It's like she looked at Hollywood, said, "No thanks," and actually meant it. Can you imagine walking away from fame that completely? Drop a comment if you even remember Bailey Quarters. Pam Dawber. At number 10, we have Pam Dawber, who starred opposite Robin Williams in Mork and Mindy from 1978 to 1982. The show was a massive hit, with Dawber playing Mindy, the earthling who befriends an alien from Ork. While Williams was the comedic hurricane, Dawber was the grounded center that made it all work. She was America's sweetheart, appearing on magazine covers and earning 2 Golden Globe nominations. But when Mork and Mindy ended, Dawber didn't capitalize on her fame. She appeared in the sitcom My Sister Sam from 1986 to 1988, which showed promise until the tragic murder of her co-star, Rebecca Schaefer, ended the series. After that, Dawber essentially retired. She made occasional TV movie appearances, but stayed largely off-screen, even as Robin Williams' career exploded. What's fascinating is that Dawber was married to Mark Harmon, who became a massive star on NCIS. She could have easily leveraged that connection for comeback roles or reality TV appearances, but she chose privacy instead. In interviews, she's been clear that she preferred raising her kids to chasing fame. Fair enough, but for a star who was that big in the late 70s and early 80s, her complete withdrawal was unusual. Dawber has made rare guest appearances on NCIS over the years, playing Marcy Warren in a few episodes, but these are exceptions. For the most part, she's lived a quiet life away from Hollywood, occasionally doing charity work, but staying far from the spotlight. It's almost like she and Jan Smithers had the same idea. Look at Hollywood's chaos and quietly walk away. Unlike some entries on this list, Dawber's story is actually pretty wholesome. She left on her own terms and seems genuinely happy. But that doesn't make her disappearance any less mysterious to fans who grew up watching Mork and Mindy. Erin Moran.
Sit on it, Mal.
Coming in at number 9 is Erin Moran, who played Joni Cunningham on Happy Days from 1974 to 1984. Joni was Richie's little sister, the girl next door with the bright smile, who eventually became popular enough to land her own spin-off, Joni Loves Chachi. Moran literally grew up on Happy Days, starting the show as an 11-year-old preteen and finishing as a young woman in her early 20s. America watched her transform from a kid sister into a romantic lead, all while the Fonz was jumping sharks, and Milwaukee was somehow the coolest place on earth. For 10 years, Moran was part of one of television's biggest hits. Happy Days dominated ratings, launched catchphrases, and made everyone involved into household names. The paychecks were good, the fame was real, and the future looked bright. But when Joni Loves Chachi flopped spectacularly after just one season in 1983, the cracks started showing. The spin-off limped through 17 episodes before ABC pulled the plug, and Moran returned to Happy Days for its final season. When that ended in 1984, so did her career momentum. The problem was brutal typecasting. Hollywood looked at Erin Moran and saw only Joni Cunningham. Casting directors couldn't imagine her as anyone else. And there weren't exactly a ton of roles for former child sitcom stars in the mid-80s. She bounced around with guest spots on shows like The Love Boat and Murder, she wrote, did some TV movies, but nothing stuck. Nothing even came close to Happy Days level success. By the 1990s, Moran had essentially disappeared from Hollywood entirely. She struggled with financial problems and personal issues that played out quietly, away from the cameras that had once followed her everywhere. She eventually declared bankruptcy, living a life far removed from the Cunningham family's comfortable Milwaukee home. In 2017, she passed away at age 56 from complications related to throat cancer. Her death shocked fans who had no idea she'd been struggling for years. What makes Moran's story particularly heartbreaking is that Happy Days was such a massive, generation-defining hit. The show ran for 11 seasons and made everyone involved wealthy and famous. Ron Howard became a legendary director. Henry Winkler became the Fonz forever. But for Moran, the fame didn't translate into a sustainable career or financial security. She became one of those cautionary tales about child stars who peak too early and can't navigate life after the spotlight fades, left behind by an industry that had no use for former sitcom daughters. Philip McKeon. At number 8, we have Philip McKeon, who played Tommy Hyatt on Alice from 1976 to 1985. Alice was CBS's blue-collar sitcom about a widowed waitress raising her son while working at Mel's Diner in Phoenix. The show was a ratings powerhouse, running for 9 seasons and making McKeon a household name as the sarcastic, lovable Tommy. For nearly a decade, McKeon was on primetime television every week. He grew up on the show, going from a kid to a teenager to a young adult, all while America watched. Linda Lavin played his mom, Alice, and their mother-son chemistry was genuine and warm. The show tackled real issues, working-class struggles, and did it with heart. But when Alice ended in 1985, McKeon basically vanished. He did a few TV movies and guest spots, appearing on shows like The Love Boat and Fantasy Island, but nothing substantial. By the early 1990s, he'd completely left acting. No press releases, no official retirement announcement. He just stopped showing up. So, where did he go? McKeon moved behind the camera, working as a producer and news editor. He spent years in the radio industry and worked on various production projects far from the spotlight. He occasionally appeared at Alice reunions or TV Land events, but these were rare. For someone who'd been so visible for so long, his withdrawal was striking. Tragically, McKeon passed away in 2019 at age 55 after a long illness. His death brought renewed attention to his career, with fans suddenly remembering Tommy Hyatt and wondering what happened. Unlike some child stars who crash and burn publicly, McKeon's exit from Hollywood was quiet and dignified. He simply decided acting wasn't for him and found another path. But for a generation that grew up watching Alice, his complete disappearance remained a mystery until his death brought his name back into the conversation, even if just briefly. Dana Plato.
What's going on?
We're practicing being dogs.
Oh, well, maybe I can help. Here, fetch.
Number 7 brings us one of Hollywood's most tragic stories, Dana Plato, from Different Strokes. From 1978 to 1984, Plato played Kimberly Drummond, the privileged daughter of Philip Drummond on the groundbreaking sitcom. Different Strokes tackled race, class, and family in ways few shows dared, and Plato was part of its core cast, but in 1984, Plato became pregnant and was written off the show. This was the 80s, and networks weren't exactly progressive about pregnant teens on family sitcoms. Her departure marked the beginning of a downward spiral that would define the rest of her short life. After Different Strokes, work dried up. She couldn't book roles and faced the harsh reality that Hollywood had no use for former child stars with baggage. Plato's story gets darker. She struggled with substance abuse, faced legal troubles, including a robbery charge, and appeared in adult films to make ends meet. She tried to mount a comeback in the 90s, appearing on talk shows to discuss her struggles, but it never materialized into actual work. In 1999, at age 34, Plato died from an overdose of prescription drugs, ruled a suicide. Her death, along with the troubled lives of her Different Strokes co-stars, Gary Coleman and Todd Bridges, became synonymous with the curse of child stardom. But Plato's disappearance from Hollywood had happened long before her death. By the late 80s, she was essentially gone from the industry, unable to break free from Kimberly Drummond's shadow or overcome the personal demons that plagued her. What's particularly heartbreaking is that Plato tried to come back. She wanted to work, wanted to rebuild her life, but Hollywood's door was closed. Her story isn't just about a mysterious disappearance. It's about an industry that builds up child stars and then abandons them when they're no longer profitable. Plato vanished from television, but unlike the wholesome exits of Smithers or Dawber, hers was marked by tragedy and missed opportunities. Anyone who grew up watching Different Strokes knows her story, and it still stings. Twice the one day at a time. Coming in at number 6, we're actually looking at multiple stars from One Day at a Time, who mysteriously faded away after the show ended. The sitcom ran from 1975 to 1984 on CBS, following divorced mother Ann Romano raising 2 daughters in Indianapolis. It was groundbreaking for its time, tackling divorce, feminism, and social issues with humor and heart. Let's start with Mackenzie Phillips, who played rebellious daughter Julie. Phillips was fired in 1980 after season 5 due to drug problems, brought back in season 7, then let go again in season 9 after a relapse. Her comings and goings were barely explained on screen. After the show, Phillips struggled publicly with addiction for years, essentially disappearing from Hollywood except for tabloid headlines. She eventually got sober and wrote a memoir, but her acting career never recovered. Then there's Bonnie Franklin, who played Ann Romano, the strong single mother at the show's heart. After One Day at a Time ended, Franklin basically vanished from television. She did theater and occasional guest spots, but never landed another major role. For someone who'd been the lead of a hit sitcom for 9 years, her absence was glaring. She passed away in 2013 from pancreatic cancer, and many fans had forgotten she'd ever existed. Pat Harrington Jr., who played Building Superintendent Schneider, also faded into obscurity. Schneider was the comic relief and surrogate father figure, earning Harrington multiple Emmy nominations and 2 wins. But after One Day at a Time, his career stalled. He did voice work and guest appearances, but nothing substantial. He passed away in 2016, largely forgotten by a new generation. What's strange about One Day at a Time is that it was a legitimate hit. The show tackled important issues and earned critical acclaim. Yet, almost everyone involved, except Valerie Bertinelli, who went on to other projects, disappeared from Hollywood. It's like the show was cursed, or maybe it was just the industry's harsh reality. Cast members who age out or face personal struggles get left behind. The One Day at a Time cast didn't vanish all at once, but their collective fade into obscurity remains striking. These were talented actors on a beloved show, and yet Hollywood had no use for them once it ended. It's the TV equivalent of being hot one day and forgotten the next. Rick Schroder.
Listen, kid, I'm kind of busy. I gotta make it. All right.
At number 5, we have Rick Schroder, the blonde-haired child star who went from silver spoons to near total obscurity. From 1982 to 1987, Schroder played Ricky Stratton on Silver Spoons, NBC's sitcom about a kid living with his wealthy, fun-loving father. The show made Schroder a massive teen idol, his face plastered on bedroom walls across America. But here's where it gets interesting. Unlike most child stars who crash and burn, Schroder actually tried to build a serious acting career. He starred in the miniseries Lonesome Dove in 1989, which earned critical acclaim. He appeared in films and TV movies throughout the 90s. He even landed a role on NYPD Blue from 1998 to 2001, playing Detective Danny Sorensen. That role earned him 3 Golden Globe nominations. Not bad for a former child star. So why is Schroder on this list? Because after NYPD Blue, he basically disappeared. He did the military drama 24 in 2003, bounced around with guest spots, and directed a few projects, but nothing stuck. By the 2010s, Schroder had quietly withdrawn from Hollywood, appearing occasionally, but never regaining the visibility he'd had. What's even stranger is that Schroder remained active but invisible. He did indie films and smaller projects, but for someone who'd been so prominent, his fade was dramatic. There were occasional controversies, public incidents that made headlines, but mostly he stayed out of the spotlight. It was like he was still working, but nobody noticed or cared. Schroder's disappearance is mysterious because it wasn't complete. He didn't walk away like Jan Smithers or crash like Dana Plato. He just quietly became irrelevant in an industry that once couldn't get enough of him. And for fans who grew up watching Silver Spoons, the question lingers: what happened to Ricky Stratton? The answer is complicated. He's still around, still working, but Hollywood moved on and forgot to tell anyone. Today, Schroder lives a relatively private life, occasionally popping up in conservative political circles or small film projects. But for a star who once defined 80s family television, his near-total absence from mainstream entertainment remains one of those weird Hollywood mysteries. It's like he slipped into a parallel dimension where he's still acting, but nobody's watching. Willie Aames.
What are you wearing? Dina or Gina is on her way here. You can't look like that.
At number 4, we have Willie Aames, who was everywhere in the 70s and 80s and then just vanished. Aames started as Tommy Bradford on 8 Is Enough from 1977 to 1981, playing one of the 8 kids in the blended Bradford family. The show was a wholesome hit on ABC, and Aames was perfectly cast as the all-American teen. After 8 Is Enough, Aames landed another sitcom success with Charles in Charge from 1984 to 1990. He played Buddy Lembeck, best friend to Scott Baio's Charles. The show became a syndication staple, the kind of sitcom kids watched after school while eating cereal. For most of the 80s, Aames was on television constantly, building what should have been a long-term career. But then, everything fell apart. In the 90s, Aames pivoted to religious programming, starring in the Christian series Bible Man from 1995 to 2004. He played the titular superhero who fought evil with scripture. It was a hard left turn from sitcoms to Christian entertainment, and while the show had a niche audience, it meant Aames had essentially left mainstream Hollywood behind. Behind the scenes, Aames struggled financially. He declared bankruptcy in 2010, revealing that decades of poor investments and life choices had left him broke. He worked as a cruise ship entertainer and took various jobs to make ends meet. For someone who'd been a TV star for over a decade, the fall was dramatic. What makes Aames' disappearance particularly strange is how sudden it felt. One day, he was Buddy Lembeck, and the next, he was gone, replaced by Bible Man and financial struggles. He gave interviews about his faith journey and recovery, but he never returned to mainstream acting. Occasionally, he'll appear at a nostalgia convention or 80s reunion event, but these are rare. Aames didn't disappear from the public entirely, but he vanished from Hollywood. His transformation from sitcom star to Christian programmer to bankruptcy survivor is one of those Hollywood stories that feels too weird to be true. And yet, here we are. For fans who grew up watching 8 Is Enough or Charles in Charge, the question remains, where did Willie Aames go? The answer is, nowhere you'd expect. He's still around, but the Hollywood that made him famous forgot he existed years ago. Lisa Whelchel.
Just a minute, Blair. Are you cutting classes?
Only the boring ones.
Claiming our number 3 spot is Lisa Whelchel, who played Blair Warner on The Facts of Life from 1979 to 1988. The Facts of Life was NBC's hit, spin-off of Different Strokes, following a group of girls at a boarding school. Whelchel's Blair was the rich, vain, but ultimately lovable character who evolved over 9 seasons into one of the show's most popular characters. The Facts of Life made Whelchel a household name. She was nominated for multiple awards and became a role model for young viewers. But when the show ended in 1988, Whelchel did something almost unheard of in Hollywood. She walked away completely. No movies, no other TV shows, nothing. She simply vanished from the entertainment industry. So, where did she go? Whelchel became a born-again Christian author and speaker, focusing on homeschooling, motherhood, and conservative Christian values. She wrote multiple books, spoke at conferences, and built a completely separate career outside Hollywood. For someone who'd been so visible on television, her choice to leave entirely was shocking. What makes Whelchel's disappearance even stranger is that she was successful in her new life. She became a well-known figure in Christian circles, selling books and speaking to large audiences. She didn't fade away due to lack of opportunities or personal struggles. She actively chose to leave Hollywood behind because it conflicted with her religious beliefs. Whelchel made a brief return to television in 2012, competing on Survivor Philippines, where she placed second. It was a weird full-circle moment that reminded viewers she'd even existed. After Survivor, she returned to her speaking career and largely stayed out of Hollywood again. The Facts of Life cast has reunited occasionally over the years, and Whelchel participates, but she's never returned to acting. Her decision to walk away from fame at the height of her popularity remains one of the most mysterious exits in 80s television. Most stars fade because Hollywood loses interest. Whelchel lost interest in Hollywood first. Today, Whelchel continues her work as a Christian author and speaker, occasionally popping up in faith-based projects but staying far from mainstream entertainment. For fans who grew up watching Blair Warner, her complete exit from Hollywood is still puzzling. She didn't struggle, didn't fail, didn't burn out. She just looked at her successful TV career, said, "This isn't for me," and built a completely different life. That takes guts. But it also means Blair Warner effectively died when The Facts of Life ended, and Lisa Whelchel never looked back. Shelley Long, post-Cheers.
I'm tired of your teeth and all the vermicelli in between.
Coming in at number 2, we have Shelley Long, whose disappearance from Hollywood after leaving Cheers remains one of the industry's most baffling mysteries. From 1982 to 1987, Long played Diane Chambers on Cheers, the neurotic intellectual waitress whose romance with Sam Malone defined the show's first 5 seasons. Her performance earned her an Emmy, 4 Golden Globe nominations, and 2 wins. At the peak of Cheers' popularity, Long made the decision to leave, walking away from one of television's biggest hits to pursue a film career. It seemed like a smart move. She'd won awards, gained critical acclaim, and Hollywood was offering her movie roles. But here's the problem. Her film career completely flopped. Long starred in movies like The Money Pit with Tom Hanks, which underperformed, and Troop Beverly Hills, which became a cult classic but wasn't a huge hit. Other films like Hello Again and Outrageous Fortune came and went without making her a movie star. By the early 90s, the dream of being a film actress had essentially died. She'd gambled on movies and lost. But here's where the mystery deepens. Long didn't return to television in any significant way. She did guest spots in TV movies, but nothing matched Cheers' success. She appeared in a few episodes of Frasier, reprising Diane, and did occasional projects, but mostly she disappeared. For someone who'd been so prominent in the 80s, her absence from the 90s and 2000s was striking. What happened to Shelley Long? Reports suggest she struggled with the decision to leave Cheers and regretted it. She'd wanted to spend more time with her daughter and explore film roles, but the trade-off didn't work out. Hollywood moved on quickly, and by the time she might have wanted to return to television, younger actresses had filled the gap. Long's disappearance wasn't dramatic or tragic like some others on this list. It was just sad. She'd been at the top of her profession, walked away for greener pastures that turned out to be mostly weeds, and never quite recovered. She kept working, but in that invisible way where you're technically still in the industry, but nobody notices. Today, Long lives a quiet life, occasionally appearing in small projects, but staying largely out of the spotlight. For fans of Cheers, her absence feels like unfinished business. Diane Chambers was such an iconic character, and Long's performance was brilliant. The fact that she essentially vanished from Hollywood after leaving the show remains one of those what-if stories. What if she'd stayed on Cheers? What if her movies had been hits? What if Hollywood had given her more chances? We'll never know. But what we do know is that Shelley Long's exit from the spotlight was one of the most mysterious in television history. She didn't crash and burn. She just quietly faded away. leaving fans wondering whatever happened to Diane Chambers. Gabe Kaplan.
You guys are fighting about homework? I think I'm in the wrong school.
And finally, claiming our #1 spot is Gabe Kaplan, the star who walked away from Welcome Back, Kotter, and literally vanished from acting. From 1975 to 1979, Welcome Back, Kotter was ABC's biggest hit, a comedy about a teacher returning to his old Brooklyn high school to teach a class of remedial students called the Sweat Hogs. Kaplan played Gabe Kotter, the wisecracking teacher who connected with kids others had given up on. The show launched John Travolta's career, giving us Vinnie Barbarino and the catchphrase, "Up your nose with a rubber hose."
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
But Kaplan was the star, the name in the title, the guy the show was built around. Welcome Back, Kotter dominated ratings, finished in the top 5 for 3 consecutive seasons, and made Kaplan one of television's biggest stars. But during season 4, in 1979, Kaplan basically stopped showing up. He appeared in only a handful of episodes, with the show explaining his absence by saying Kotter was away pursuing other opportunities. Behind the scenes, Kaplan had gotten into contract disputes with the network and producers. He wanted more creative control and a bigger piece of the financial pie. When negotiations broke down, he walked away. Here's what makes Kaplan's disappearance so mysterious. After Welcome Back, Kotter ended, he never returned to acting in any meaningful way. No other sitcoms, no movies, no comeback attempts. He just vanished. For a star who'd been so visible and successful, his complete exit from Hollywood was shocking. So, where did Gabe Kaplan go? Poker? Yes, seriously. Kaplan became a professional poker player and commentator, appearing at World Series of Poker events and providing analysis for televised poker tournaments. He also did stand-up comedy occasionally and produced a few projects, but mostly he just played poker and stayed out of Hollywood. What makes this even stranger is that Kaplan could have come back. Welcome Back, Kotter remained beloved, and there were opportunities for revivals or reunion specials, but Kaplan showed zero interest. It was like he'd completely moved on from acting and didn't care about his television legacy. In interviews over the years, Kaplan has been vague about why he left Hollywood. He's mentioned creative differences, burnout, and a desire to do other things. But the complete nature of his departure, walking away from the peak of fame and never looking back, remains one of television's great mysteries. Today, Kaplan is in his late 70s, still playing poker and occasionally doing comedy. He's made peace with his decision to leave Welcome Back, Kotter, and acting behind. But for fans who grew up watching the show, his disappearance still doesn't quite make sense. You don't walk away from that level of success without a really good reason. And Kaplan has never fully explained what that reason was. Gabe Kaplan's vanishing act earns our #1 spot because it's the most complete disappearance on this list. He didn't struggle, didn't fail, didn't get pushed out. He just left at the height of his fame and never came back. That takes a certain kind of confidence, or maybe just a really good poker hand. Either way, for a generation that grew up with Mr. Kotter, his absence remains Hollywood's most mysterious exit. And there you have it, 11 TV stars who mysteriously disappeared without saying goodbye. Some walked away by choice, others were pushed, and a few faced tragic endings that cut their stories short. Which of these disappearances shocked you the most? Did we miss anyone who vanished from your favorite show? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into television's greatest mysteries, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more retro TV content. Until next time, this is Remember When, reminding you that sometimes the biggest stars leave the smallest footprints. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.